Sacred Fall, a journey of reflection, ritual, and renewal with Reverend Tania Marquez. Welcome, pilgrim, to this journey through the season. This is a self paced workshop series inviting you to lean into the wisdom that this season teaches us. Each webinar will build on the previous, while your participation and willingness to experience the resources I will leave you here are important. I want to remind you that this is, after all, an invitation. You are the master of your time, and you get to decide what works for you and what doesn't work for you. As you go through this video, I invite you to have a pen and paper ready so that you can take notes and also answer some of the questions that I may ask you. And this series will stand through the fall season, beginning precisely September 21, just before the fall equinox. And we will begin with setting the sacred space in October. We'll explore the practice of letting go on November 16, sacred self-care, and December 14, the wisdom of darkness. And I hope to offer you some resources then so that you can celebrate the winter solstice as well. Why fall? Why the fall season? Yes, it is true that we can learn to practice, setting our intentions and paying attention to how the natural world changes its rhythms. And but the fall season, it's a good time because it is the time when the axis of the Earth is in a more neutral position. It's not neither toward nor away from the sun. Um, Nights and days are almost of equal length, but the brightness and long summer days are gone. And we begin to transition into the season that prepares us also for the colder time, for the winter time. The fall season is a time of transition that slowly prepares us for the longest night and the colder days of winter. So, as we allow ourselves to lean into the season, we are invited to welcome change, transition, letting go, and release in the stillness that comes with the longer nights. So, there's a couple of things that we are already familiar. You may already be familiar with, the fall season and the symbolism of the fall season. It is a time of harvest, and for that was true for many of our ancestors. Um, it's a time to reflect on what we planted. So it's not just the food that is harvested during this time of the year, and of course in places where the winter it's a lot more difficult. Um, it was a time to gather all these extra resources to prepare for the winter time. But for us, if you're not in a very cold area, like for us in the Southwest Pacific and or the Southern Hemisphere, it's a time also for reflection on what we planted before and what we are harvesting within us and around us in our relationships, in the intentions that we had, for this year, for this season. Um, but it's also as we begin to move towards winter, the days begin to be shorter and the nights are longer. So the gradual longer nights invite us into stillness, retreating sooner than in the summer to our homes, our places of rest and sanctuaries. It is a time of loss that is represented by, the loss of leaves and trees as they begin to prepare for hibernating the winter season. They shed their leaves and they prepare for winter. And so we can also reflect on what we need to release also, whether willingly or what life has forced us to release in loss as well. And this is also the time of, when in some traditions, the veil between the living and the dead becomes thinner. And when we get to honor our ancestors, I will prepare a separate video aside from this series about Day of the Dead in Mexico. So you can also look forward to that. So let's talk about creating sacred space or an altar. Um, and creating sacred space or an altar is a way of putting a place externally. Like you can carry the altar or that sacred space in your heart within you, but when you you put it out into the world and you put it in a place where you can see it, it is a daily reminder of your intention and your commitment to live your life in a specific way. So it is important to create these spaces that if you're going about your day, things get busy, things get a little overwhelming, and even just looking at it is a good reminder to say, oh yes, this is what I want to be doing this time of the year. So I prepare a video for you to watch, and I'm gonna play it for you. So I want to say just something extra about the herb because I didn't have enough time in that video. So as you saw, I put a couple of little branches of rosemary, and you can pick any herb that works, like rosemary or rue or lavender. But the practice of putting it fresh on your altar is as you move through the season, right? Like that herb is going to teach you something about um, this change, this transition from being green and alive to drying. Um, and so I invite you to put a fresh herb. But again, it's your altar, so you get to choose what goes in that space and what represents and what's important to you. So let's do a grounding practice. So if you feel comfortable, I chose this image because I thought that just the roots of the tree were really beautiful and really inviting to um, set our intention for being fully present and immersed in the moment. So I'm going to invite you just into a very short grounding practice. If you feel comfortable, if you're sitting, great. If you prefer to be laying down, just take a couple of moments to, you can pause the video if you want, but find a comfortable position for you. Doesn't have to be perfect. We are not aiming for perfection. We just want it to be comfortable. And whether you're sitting or laying down, allow your attention to focus on your breathing, on your breath. Don't change it. You don't need to change it. You don't need to make it different. You don't need to wonder if you're doing it right or not. Just allow it to be. Just follow your breath. Notice the sensations as you inhale and notice the sensations as you exhale. And just like this tree on the picture, I invite you to imagine roots growing from you. If you're sitting, maybe roots growing from your feet into the earth. If you're laying down, just roots growing from all over your body into the ground. And as you imagine those roots, allow them to give you that sensation of being planted, being grounded. Imagine the nourishment of the earth coming through those roots into you. And imagine you releasing into the earth whatever it is that is bothering you right now that no longer serves you. Just let your breath through your roots, nourishment coming from Mother Earth and releasing into her what no longer serves you. And as you observe that, allow yourself to rest in this space. If your mind wanders, it's okay. Just let it wander. That's what minds do. You can invite it back into this exercise of giving and receiving, releasing and receiving. Notice how much you're given without judgment, without asking for more. Notice how what you release is received also without judgment, with great compassion. And as you're ready, I invite you to begin to bring your attention back to this space, to where you are, to my voice. Slowly and gently wiggle your toes, move your arms, and open your eyes. Simply notice. Notice what is different now from a few minutes ago. And now in this space, after finding a little bit of grounding, a little bit of stillness, I invite you to think about setting an intention for the season. What is it that you are feeling called to explore? What is it that you're feeling called to do this fall season? The, this practice for the fall season is a practice of paying attention. So take a moment to notice what came up for you during or after our grounding practice. Notice what's there. Then ask yourself the question, what is this season calling me to pay attention to? Take a moment to write it down. Write down your intention. And it's okay if your intention changes. When you build your altar, I invite you to put that intention that you wrote on your altar as a good reminder of what your intention is. And if it changes, it's okay. You can write a new one. And instead of just getting rid of the old intention, add a new one to your altar. And again, all of this is just going to inform you, it's going to give you insights. And that's what we're looking for. So there will be some resources also that you have access to, some meditations, breathing exercises, journaling. I invite you to journal, take 10 to 15 minutes, if not daily, a couple of times a week or a few times a week, and write about your insights or respond to our journal prompts. An everyday prompt could be, what did I notice today? That's a simple question. What did I notice today? Or you can just do some free journaling, just allowing your mind to express, what needs to be expressed that day. Here are some of the prompts that I'm offering you. What does the fall season represent to me? What intentions do I want to set for this season? How can I create a sacred space in my home or life that mirrors the sacred energy of fall? What daily grounding practices can help me stay present this fall season? How did I live into my intention for the season today? What is fall teaching me today? What is my spirit, my inner life longing for this season? So explore journaling, explore some of the other resources. If you if you can, invite a daily practice or an ongoing practice of meditation, mindful walking, movement, singing, um, with the intention, tied to the intention that you have for the season. You can always reach out to me, ask questions, explore. I'm here for you. I just want you to know that. And so that brings us to our closing for this first workshop on creating sacred space. And this is a blessing as you begin this journey into the fall season. May you lean into the invitations that this season is extending to you. May you find the courage, strength, and gratitude to release what must be released. May you allow yourself to slow down, to retreat into the warmth and wisdom of darkness. May you do all that you are called to do with compassion towards yourself and others. Blessings on this journey for the fall season, and I'll see you next time.